absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you all so much for joining us for what I hope you will find to be an interesting discussion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some of the ideas that emerged in this book called What Has Nature Ever Done For Us, which is based upon many years of working in the environmental sphere, as your colleague just explained a moment ago, working with many different organisations in many different sectors and many different circumstances. And what I wanted to do today is just to pull some of the themes out of this book, just to give you a sense of how the human world is inextricably dependent upon the natural environment. I'm going to use a few words this morning that just might be worth introducing before I go too much further. Biodiversity, this is a word that's in very frequent use these days as we understand the value of the variety of life on Earth, from the genetic composition of different species, to the species themselves, and then to entire ecosystems, maybe more familiarly called the web of life, maybe a better phrase to describe biodiversity. And then there are ecosystems, self-sustaining, changing assemblages of animals and plants interacting with water, atmosphere, and geology. And then I'm going to talk a lot today about so-called ecosystem services. This is a phrase now that's in quite frequent use, and it's about the value that the human world derives from systems in nature and what they provide for us. And then a new phrase, natural capital. If you think about financial capital, and if you invest your financial capital wisely, you get a flow of dividends. And so it goes with the natural world, if only we can see those dividends and understand that to keep them flowing towards us, we have to maintain the assets. It's rather like your financial savings. If you spend them all at once, then you stop getting the flow of interest and returns. And so it goes with nature. And nature, obviously all of us know as the living and the natural world around us, and that is a phrase now increasingly in use in political and in business circles. So if we're going to think about the value of nature to the human world, where might we begin? Well, one place I often begin is right beneath our feet in the dark world of soil. Soil, in my world, in England and in many other countries, sometimes it has the cultural label of dirt. It's something to be washed off, something to be concreted over. And yet soil is one of the most miraculous systems on our planet. If you go into the fields, the pastures of Cambridgeshire in England, and if you take a soil sample the size of a tablespoonful, a big spoonful of soil, you go to the laboratory and you start counting the microorganisms in that soil sample, no bigger than an egg. If you sit there long enough with your electron microscope, you will count something like 6 billion individual organisms. Bacteria, fungal threads, viruses, springtails, maybe a huge big animal like a worm you will find in there. And all of these creatures are interacting in different ways. They are breaking down plant material that's rotting from above and turning it back into nutrients, enabling plant growth. And of course, plant growth is at the foundations of all of our agriculture. So soil is discharging essential services for the whole world, but of course soil in different ways is being damaged. Here's a picture from a satellite taken high over Madagascar, and you can see that great plume of red material going into the ocean, and that is soil that is leaving the land and going into the sea, and the reason for that is the way in which we are farming the land. Globally, some 20 billion tons of topsoil is being lost every year, and that loss of soil is happening between 20 and 40 times more quickly than the soil is being replenished. And it's not just an issue for the developing countries. Here's a picture of my country, the United Kingdom, and you can see around the edge of the coast the soil going into the sea, down the major river